sleeping without blankets, sleeping without eating. That's what caused me to go out there on the street to look for money so that I can give my mom something to eat. I can buy medicine for my mom. The thing which used to make her sleep very well, it's about sniffing sticker. When you sniff, there's no problem, you cannot feel anything. You sleep without blanket when sleeping, and somebody can beat you, nothing can happen, you can't hear anything, you can't feel anything when you are high.
At night you have to sleep like animals, no blankets. I can imagine the situation right now. Like there's water everywhere, dead water, a lot of mosquitoes. That's the other reason which made me do this job, because I've been on the street. I know what it means to be there, I know how it feels to be there. So it helps me to do this job because I already have friends from the street whom we used to be together at the same time, and they know me, and they know they could trust me. They behave like animals, but it's tough out there. It's tough.
The life in the streets is really, really traumatizing for a child. And some of these children have never been really anyplace else. They came from the village or the compounds after the death of their parents, and they ended up in the streets, and 3 or 4 years later they don't know anything else. So if you don't take them into a place where there's counseling and teaching and extensive parenting, just basic parenting, this is how to use a toilet, how to brush your teeth, then they never really fit into society. If you are a grandmother and you have 12 grandchildren all living with you, then by the time that, the 13 or 14-year-old gets to be big, then they're out. They have to take care of themselves, so they're in the streets begging.
There's a system in the streets called the wives. So pretty much every child, a little child, will come in, and the big boys aren't big enough, or they're too big, so they can't beg. So they're not able to make money. So what they do is they take a little boy as their wife. And that little boy is responsible for sexual satisfaction, for food. Any money that little boy makes has to be turned over to the big boys. And in the end, then at night, when they all come back to sleep, horrible things happen. If the boy doesn't turn over the money or doesn't make enough, he can be beaten. He can be sold to another husband for sex. They can all go into sexual slavery. The girls, at any point in time, people can go into town and, you'll go in the next morning, 10 kids will have disappeared. And we don't know where they are. And we never see them again. If you're a young boy, you can be sold to the Congo for rebel soldiers. If you're a young girl, it's very likely you will have, I'm talking young, 9 or 10, not 15 or 16. The 9 and 10-year-olds are taken into Botswana and sold again and South Africa, and sold into sexual slavery. I think it's the basic lack of humanity in the children's lives, and the lack of adults with direction and compassion. And they have no idea how to treat each other. And so if everybody's having sex, then the little ones are having sex too. The girls, they don't even call it sex. They call it rolling, because it's, all they do is somebody can go, they're sleeping in the streets. Remember, you have to picture this child is sleeping on the ground in a rubbish pile, more than likely. And anybody can go in and take them, and the girls just roll over, let them do what they want to do, because if they get conscious really of what's happening, then it's more traumatic for them. But they can be rolled up to 10 times a night. Think if this happens to you when you're 9 and 10, what kind of person are you going to be when you're 14 or 15? It's really harming. And then most of the girls are HIV positive, because they're just too little, and there's too much blood involved in the sexual behavior, and so they end up HIV positive very early ages. I'd say about 2/3 of the kids come with some sort of STI, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, that's treatable. Many of the little boys come with gonorrhea in their throat, and we have to treat that. And I mean, and it's so common that I know one little boy that literally wanted to come home with me so badly. And I kept saying, no, you can only come if you're sick. So one of the big boys told me that he kept just offering himself for oral sex to the boys. And then when he finally got gonorrhea, then he got to come to my house. So, I mean, it's so bad that they will make themselves sick to be able to come home with us. And it's not pleasant to talk about. It's not conversation you want to share really with people, but it is the reality, because the longer they stay like that, the less likely they are to ever change and want to reintegrate back into the world.
This is the Chisamba, deep in the rural areas. You know, these children, they need help. 90% of these children are orphans. You find even reporting to school is another
reason I came back to Zambia, is to rescue the children from the streets before they were caught in its grips. This is a family, 3 generations, trying to make a living smashing rocks. The grandmother begged us to take her children with. The family makes $1.75 a day, or hopes to make $1.75 a day by smashing rocks alongside the road. We'll have to come back for the grandchildren. Our orphanage isn't ready, but should be in a couple of weeks. These we'll be able to save from the streets.
And this is how they make their money. They break these rocks, and then for a wheelbarrow full of rocks, they get 15 kwacha, which is $1.50.
The people in Zambia are so gentle and loving. Even this man here, who is moments away from dying, greets us with a smile.
Yes, that until, we use that until, there's this until.
You know what it looks like? Some of these anthills are different colors.
They've got different colors, but when you make the bricks have got the same color after going through the fire.
So then what makes a big difference is when you put them through the fire,
yes,
that really makes them hard.
The property is secured from the chief. The next step in the operation is to clear the field of trees. And it's a very heavy forested area. Everyone is prepared to work. You can see the women here bringing their children to school, and on their shoulder they carry a hoe. And they use this hoe for farming and also for clearing the field. These people come to work to the school where their children go to school. and all the trees are cleared by this power tool, one chip at a time. The women in the previous screen that you saw bringing the hoe to school with their children are now in this field next door to the school, clearing the trees, the brush, and the grass so that a building can be built in this space.
Sir, how are you this morning?
Fine.
Very nice work.
Nice work.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Do a good job.
Good job.
And there's their cement mixer. Their wire reinforcement. That's 2 trees at once. And here's a kiln that they made out of bricks.
Yes.
And then they put bricks in there to harden the bricks.
Yeah.
How long do you have to keep the bricks in there?
You put fire today, you burn for the whole day, then you wait it to get, you wait it for 3 days, then the bricks are ready.
You leave them in there for 3 days?
Yes.
So it's interesting because the foundation is done first, then the bricks, then the roof, and then the inside is finished. And you can see we have things growing on the inside.
My name is Agnes Shanika. When I was 2 years old, my parents died, and I was left without anybody to help me. And my grandma took me, and she carried me until I reached grade 7. Says that I should come here. Is when I came here, and the most thing I like in this place is that people, they take care of me. I eat, I never sleep, hunger. I always be happy. And I've now know God and prayed. I didn't know how to pray. Now I have known how to pray. I smile each time and every day. I'm so happy, and I'm so thankful for God for this wonderful orphanage.
When God formed this world, He looked at it and He said, "What else is a creation of the Lord?" People, yes. So when we see people, our classmates, our teachers, our students, and we look at them and we say, "Wow, you are supremely good," that's how God thinks. He looks at us and He says, "Wow, we are supremely good."
Many students come several miles to come to our classes. And the reason is that in the government-run classes, the teachers don't show, or if they do show, they show up drunk. Or another problem that they have is books. We're building dorms in some of the campuses so that the students can stay at school and not have to make that travel.
Exactly.
At the end of the year, we'll sell it for $100, which will mean we'll cover the cost of that child's education. A pen covers the cost for a classroom, and a pen costs about $300. The first step to buy the property or to get the property from the chief. In Zambia, there's 300 chieftains in a country about the size of Texas. The chief is the ultimate authority in this territory and deems what the price is and who gets the property. Although Zambia has been a democracy for about 50 years, the chief is the ultimate authority, especially in the rural areas. and he determines what the price is. The chief loved what we were doing and gave us about 90% off on the current value of the property.
Okay, I'm going to enter the tribal offices.